Hey there, comics fans. Welcome to week 2 of 5 in 5, where I tell you the top 5 comics to buy, and you can sound off in the comments and tell me why I'm wrong, or how I left out your favorite book, or why I'm an idiot, or just tell me I'm really cool and I got a cool hat. Anyway, crazy week this week in comic books. Way too many good books to pick from. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. Alright, we're going to kick off this week with New Mutants Dead Soul #1 from Marvel's Comics, and the guy that I could keep calling a rising star, but he's just a star now. Matthew Rosenberg is writing this book. He killed it with Phoenix Resurrection. He's gonna kill it with Multiple Man. The art is brought to you by Adam Gorham, who most recently finished up Rocket with Al Ewing. This team features Magic, Wolfsbane, Boom Boom, Richter, and Strong Guy hunting down paranormal threats within the Marvel Universe and just trying to get into the bottom of them. Now, it's kind of a funny team. These are guys made in the 80s, so their names aren't the best. Boom Boom blows things up. Richter can make things quake. Earthquakes, which are measured on the Richter scale. And Strong Guy is strong. Anyway, it should be a great book. I have the utmost faith in Matthew Rosenberg to write anything well. Pick it up. With number 4, we're looking at Infidel #1 from Image Comics. It's the creator-owned debut for artist Aaron Campbell, and it's totally his baby, but it's being written by up-and-coming filmmaker. I'm gonna try and make this right on the first time. Pornsak Pichetshote. Nailed it. This is a book that takes the horror genre, and rather having it in this creepy abandoned cabin or some sort of giant old temple, it moves it to the city, in an apartment in New York City, and really utilizes that claustrophobic space to tell a terrifying story. It's also the first social horror comic. It's going to focus a lot on xenophobia and a lot of our fears when living in tight, confined spaces with people who are different from us. It centers around a Muslim American woman who moves into an apartment in New York City with her boyfriend, his mom, and his daughter. That already sounds like a terrifying time. Throw in the fact that this apartment that they've moved into is being haunted by some sort of unworldly ghost, and it's a terrifying time. The preview panels that we have seen are unsettling as all hell. Should be an awesome book. Definitely is going to dive into a lot of social political commentary. So if you don't like books that are led by diverse casts and dive into social issues, please heed my warning. This is a book that is going to feature elements of the story that many terrible trolly people are going to call SJW bullshit. If you're one of those people, reader discretion is advised. This book will upset you, and for the love of God, please stop being like that. Our number 3 book this week is VS #2 from Image Comics. VS #2 is written by Ivan Brandon and Esad Ribic. It basically tells the story of war for sport, but it doesn't shy away from the brutality of war and how violent it is, because you are killing people after all. It's got this very 80s vibe to it in the way that there's a lot of neon colors, a lot of bright splashes, but it's also got this dark comedy aspect to it, where interjected within the story are these moments of fake commercials that you would see in like the beginning of Tropic Thunder, where you see some booty sweat popping out. You get that in this book. Random commercials for these new products that show you just how desperate and bleak this world they live in is. It doesn't shy away from violence, doesn't shy away from the bleakness of war, but tells this interesting amalgam of science fiction, sports, and a black comedy. I'm sold. Alright, well, it must be a great week for Matthew Rosenberg, because he's going to be the first person to ever land on this list twice. He's writing The Punisher #222, and I'm excited for it. It's a very Punisher story in the way that it is insanely violent. The best Punisher kills you'll ever see, from him slamming a man with a tank, blowing people's heads off with a Gatling gun on his shoulder, and flat out ripping a dude in half, and it's fucking awesome. Guy Villanova has had amazing art throughout this entire run. Every single kill is so entertaining, so well done, and just a joy to look at if you're weird like me and you like gory stories. Now, if you've been keeping up with DC's Milk Wars crossover, that weird Young Animal and Justice League of America thing they just did, you'll know that Eternity Girl #1 is coming out, and by God, does it look amazing. It's written by Magdalene Visaggio, most famous for Kim and Kim, and Malaysian superstar artist, not very well known in the States, but getting there, Sunny Liu. This follows the story of a superhero who has retired and is completely removed from her superhero life. The only problem is she can't die, she's losing control of her powers to change around, and she is insanely depressed and wants to kill herself. This is a book that's going to dive into the mind of somebody who's depressed but doesn't show it and doesn't want people to know, and rejects the pity and rejects any sort of stigma and really stigmatizes themselves. So it's really going to dive into the way your mind works when that happens. When you got a superhero like this who is just dying to kill themselves, pun intended, really bad one. She'll basically do anything she can to finally end it. And that's what makes this book so interesting. It includes a proposition from one of Eternity Girl's old nemesises, Nemesi, that he can end it for her. He can finally kill her. Only problem is he's gotta kill the entirety of the universe and end time as we know it in order to do it. Should be an awesome read for everybody, especially if you've ever dealt with mental health issues on your own. All right, and that'll do it for this week's 5 in 5. Subscribe, unsubscribe, then resubscribe, comment, like, share, yell at me in the comments. Check back at Adventures in Poor Taste on Wednesday. We will have reviews of all of these books as well as all the other news and everything geek, from video games, cosplay, what's going on at the latest conventions, and of course, all the comic book shit you can read. Till next week, I'll see you guys later.